Hello, everyone, and welcome to Statistical Methods. My name is Rick Vaughn. I'm your instructor for this course, and I'd like to just introduce myself and also walk you through some things about the course that will help you get off to a good start. So first and foremost, if you haven't taken Baker classes, you should go through the Start Here. Has a video about just in general some of the services that you have at your disposal and how to be successful in our environment. And then you'll have each of your modules that is what you're going to work through each week. But you really should start with the announcements. Hopefully that's where you found this particular video that you're watching right now. There's a welcome message. There'll be some announcements about synchronous meetings, for example, and more great information. So this should be your first and foremost source for information, which comes directly from me. Under the modules, this will give you an idea of what you have to do each and every week of the course. You won't have, of course, this instructor resources, but you'll have this Start Here. You can get some information about me, all the policies, the textbook, the syllabus for the course. But it's really in Module 1. This is where you're going to see your outline of all the things that you need to do each week. Now, as you can see, you have a lot of things to do. This is not an easy course. I don't think any of the math courses are easy in college, but this one has a tremendous amount of things that you have to accomplish each week. You're going to be very, very busy. So you want to start by making sure that you can access the Mymathlab. This is a document about getting started and using, it's really called MyStatLab for a statistics class like that. Your reading assignments in here, the homework and due dates. You will want to practice engagement, and I'll say a little bit about that. Each one of these is going to give you a direct link into your assignment on the textbook in the MyStatLab. So it used to be that you'd actually port out of the Baker system and go to another place, but now you can access these problems right here in your window within Canvas. So if I wanted to do my homework from chapter 1.1, you can see that there are 10 questions, and I can just click on one of the questions, and it's going to bring it right into my window. Now, these questions they're the same questions for every student, but they'll randomize the numbers. And there's some tools that you can use to actually help you be successful. So here we're talking about the difference between a parameter and a statistic, the population parameter, the sample statistic. And so you're supposed to select the right answer. I also wanted to point out there's some help features. Help me solve this, view an example, jump right to the textbook, a stat crunch, and ask my instructor. This ask my instructor will take a photograph basically of the problem and send me an email. And then I can respond with your version of that question and your data that's in there. A few extra things that I want to talk about working in a Pearson system, not particularly on this question, but every now and then, especially in a stats class. Some of these classes will have expectations that you respond with a certain number of decimal points. And it'll usually present that number of decimal points in subscript, in parentheses. It's blue, and it'll say, respond with 3 decimal places or 2 decimal places. And Pearson is very, very picky about you responding the way that they tell you to respond. And so it can be very frustrating when you're first working in a Pearson system because you can enter the right answer. You've done a bunch of work, and then it still marks you wrong. Most of these times, you've actually entered something not the way that they want you to. You've used a capital letter instead of a lowercase letter. You gave them 4 decimal places when they only wanted 3 decimal places. So read the feedback that you get from Pearson very carefully and try to look at the example and match what you typed against what they were expecting. Because you can do these answers, so you can work on these homework problems over and over again until you get a perfect score. As soon as you try this, whether you get it right or whether you get it wrong, you can actually try a similar version of that question. However, when you get to the quiz, you're not going to have those multiple attempts and all week long to kind of work on those. So you want to work out those data entry issues as you're going through the homework each week. All right, so that's a little bit about Pearson and how you navigate through. When you're done, you can just save it. You can always come back to it, and then that score will automatically update into your Canvas. But it doesn't always populate right away. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. So when you finish it, your grade over in Canvas might not reflect it until the next day. Okay, a little bit more back about the modules. So in week 1, you can see you have homework, 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 more homework, more homework, more homework. All right, then you have a quantitative project. Now these projects, they kind of build upon each other from one week to the next to the next. And so you'll want to just click on this to read the directions for it. We'll talk a little bit about this in our first synchronous meeting and maybe another subsequent video as well. Following your project, you also have these two quizzes. These two quizzes are going to be in Mymathlab as well. Right, so this is a heavy content week. I will be posting up some announcements about that content for the week. And now let me finish this particular welcome video with my engagement expectations. So a little while back, Baker moved from a you must post this many times a week sort of formula for engagement to more of a holistic view of engagement. So what does that mean? That means that there isn't really a written down, like you must do this or you must do that to get your engagement points. It's going to be up to me to determine how engaged you are with the class, but I will tell you that the things that I will be looking for to determine how engaged you are from one week to the next is number one, completing your homework problems on time. Number two, posting in the discussion threads that I do put up in the classroom and being as active as you can be. Number three, coming to the synchronous meetings when I schedule them, stopping by during open office hours, saying hello. And number four is suggesting other areas, being of use to your peers, suggesting things perhaps in those discussion threads or perhaps through mail. But the more that you can demonstrate to me that you are engaging with the material, that you're learning the material, and that you're being of service to yourself and to the other students in the course, the higher your engagement score is going to be. It's actually not too terribly difficult to get full points. I'm not very hard on this, but I do hold you accountable for being active throughout the week, not just kind of doing nothing and then coming in on the last day and expecting to do a whole bunch of things. So engagement is demonstrated throughout the week in a variety of ways. And I don't know how else to say it without, trying to quantify something that isn't really quantifiable. It's more of a general pattern of regular and substantive interaction. All right, well, again, my name is Dr. Vaughn. You can call me Rick. Look for some additional announcements about synchronous meetings where hopefully we'll get to know each other in a more, face-to-face, virtual face-to-face session. I am here to ensure your success, and I'll do everything I can to help make this as painless as possible. And hopefully you'll learn some important methods about statistics along the way. Have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you in class.